Hey, what's up everyone? Vegetarian Zombie here, and we are back with another episode on C#. This time we are diving deep into the static keyword. This keyword allows you to provide some additional functionality to your classes. It's a great tool to have in your toolbox. But before we dive in, as mentioned, my name is Vegetarian Zombie. I run this YouTube channel as well as Jesner.com. If you enjoy these videos and you want to see more, feel free to subscribe to this channel. Basically, thank you for being here, and I hope these videos help you. So, what is static? Think of it like this. Let's say we have a game with lots of slime monsters. You want to keep track of all those slime monsters. You can create a property on the slime monster class and call it count. Of course, if you increment the count, it will only be accessible to one slime monster. By setting it to static, this variable will exist across all instances of the slime monster. If one slime monster increases the count, then all the slime monsters will see the increment. This is known as a class variable, as it's a variable added to the class itself, not to the object. You can also apply it to a method as well. Here's the beautiful thing. By declaring a method static, you don't need an object. You can call it directly from the class. You've actually been using a static method throughout this course. Remember our friend debug? That's an object specifically designed for finding errors in our game. You use it by calling debug.log. The log method is a static method. In fact, the debug class has lots of other static properties and methods. Okay, there are some rules when working with static. First, we access the class variable by way of the type name. So to increase the slime monster count, we would write slimemonster.count. Same goes with methods. Next, when you are writing a static method, you can't access instance variables. If you try, you'll get an error. The reason is when you call, say, a static method, you may not be working with an instance at the time. You may be calling it directly on the class itself. If you try to access an object state, you'll run into an error. This is a common error you'll run into. If your static method needs to access state or behavior, then you need to pass an object into it. Otherwise, you'll need to do something else. Okay, here we have Unity open. We want to give a battle cry to our fighters. The battle cry will be our fighters saying their names backwards. There may be other places where we can use this feature, so we'll make a static method on the class. Create a new script and call it string utilities. Open it up in Visual Studio Code. Delete the existing code and replace it with the following. Now let's create a reverse method, and we'll call it reverse. It'll take a string. This is a static method that reverses the word. This takes in a string. You'll loop through the string backwards and construct a new word. Here you define another way for creating a string. Now let's loop through the word. There's a few things that's happening here. First, you're looping through the amount of letters in the word. Next, you get the index of the current word. The string works just like an array with each letter being at an index. So let's take a word that has 3 letters, such as the. T is at a 0 index. H is the first index and E is the second. Since arrays are 0-based, we need to first minus 1. Then we subtract the index. Using the word the again, the letter index evaluates to 2, which is the last letter of the word, which you add to the new word variable. The next iteration evaluates to 1, which gets the H. The final index evaluates to 0. You've effectively reversed the word. Now return after the loop. With that done, open the fighter class. Create a new public method. Now you just need to return the reverse name. Remember, this is a class method, so you start with the return keyword followed by the class name. Then from the class name, you provide the method itself. Okay, switch back to My Objects, add the following code and show message. Save and switch back to Unity. Press the button. Congrats, you get your battle cries. Okay, for your challenge, I want you to create a static property on your string utilities class. Call it access count. Make it an int. It should keep track of how many times the reverse method was called. Print out the number of times it was used on the screen. Pause the video and try it out. Welcome back. Static properties and methods take a little getting used to, but they are super helpful. Open up your string utilities class and add the following property. Now increase the amount in the reverse method. Okay, now return back to My Objects. Add the following to show message. Save, switch back to Unity. Play the game, press the button. You'll see it's been accessed 2 times. Great job.